So in this part of the video we are going to talk about nervous system in animal kingdom. So different organisms have different nervous system. So we will be talking about each and every animal kingdom, which we have already read in the animal kingdom section, and today we will be in details talking about the nervous system in particular organisms. So it can be lower level of organisms as well as higher level of organisms. In the last video I had just given an introductory concept for the neural control and coordination. So today we are going to talk about the nervous system in animal kingdom. So let's go for it. First is, when we are going to talk about animal kingdom, the lowest level of organism can be named as porifera, right? When we are going to talk about animal kingdom, so there are different types of animal kingdoms. The first is porifera. This is the first division in the animal kingdom. So when we are going to talk about porifera, it's the lowest organism like the sponges, and they do not have any nervous system. So it's easy to remember, they do not have any nervous system. So no nervous system in the kingdom porifera is there. Next we are going to talk about coelenterids. Coelenterid, or we can write it as coelenterata, the next kingdom which we are going to talk about. Coelenterata, when we are going to talk about, its porifera is having no nervous system, but the coelenterata are having nervous system. So we can write it like this. It is having the simplest nervous system. Simplest nervous system. Example which we can cite is the hydra. So coelenterata are having the simplest nervous system, and example is hydra. And the neurons are linked to each other. Neurons are linked to each other by nerve nets, linked to one another, we can say, to one another with the help of nerve nets. Okay. These nerve nets are also known as plexus. So nerve nets or plexus. Important thing in coelenterata to remember is simplest nervous system. Example is hydra, and the neurons are linked with one another with nerve nets and plexus. The next kingdom is the platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes. See, these names are too difficult to remember. According to you, you can remember it as you wish. Platyhelminthes. However you like it, you can remember it. So platyhelminthes is, we can normally refer to the flatworms. So these are flatworms. So platyhelminthes means flatworms, or we can say the grouping is coming under flatworms. Example can be cited to be planaria. Right. So next what we are going to talk about is, they have a ladder-like nervous system. How does a ladder look like? You all must be knowing. So ladder-like nervous system. That means step. We have to climb like steps. It would be somewhat like this. Ladder-like nervous system. Right. It is ladder-like nervous system. And we can also mention that cephalization is present. Encephalization and cephalization means its distribution. So cephalization is present. These are the key points which you need to remember, but as of now it's not required for your NCERT. If you are going for NCERT, it's not required as of now for your final exams also, right? So only for higher end studies like for NEET and all these pointers need to be remembered. So civilization is present, then they are having 2 nerve cords. They are having 2 nerve cords. So you should highlight and underline it. 2 nerve cords that run throughout the body. That runs throughout the body. Throughout the body. Or we can say throughout the body length. Right? Next we can talk about it that these nerve cords are connected by transverse nerves. So transverse nerves are there which connect the nerve cords. Connects the nerve cord. And last but not the least point for the flatworms, that is they have simple brain in which ganglia is present. So simple brain is present with them in the form of ganglia, and we know that they have the sensory system also. So simple brain present in the head region with 2 eye spots. Simple brain present in the head region under eye spots. Under eye spots. Okay. So next is the nematoda. Kingdom nematoda. Nematoda are commonly called roundworms. What are they commonly called? They are commonly called as roundworms. Okay. So these roundworms have well-developed nervous system. So they have well-developed nervous system. Next, like others when we were talking about, they have nerve rings, and these nerve rings are made up of 4 ganglia. These nerve rings are made up of 4 ganglia. Okay, these are made up of 4 ganglia that serves as, we can say that serves as brain. Okay, and where it is present? It is present at the posterior end. Present at the posterior, anterior. Present at the anterior end. Nerve rings. Just you have to remember, nervous system is there, nerve rings are there, and these nerve rings are made up of 4 ganglion cells that serves as brain. And these rings which are formed, or we can say from the ring, arises nerves. So there are certain nerves which arise from the rings, arises nerves which can run throughout the length of their body. So which runs throughout the length of the body. And what are they doing? So on the dorsal side, okay, first on the dorsal side they have a motor control. dorsal side they have the motor control, then lateral side they have sensory control, and ventral side controls both the motor control as well as sensory control. Motor control as well as sensory. So as we go higher in the low level of organization in the animal kingdom, we will be finding the nervous system becomes more complex. So next we are going to head towards Annelida. We are going to talk about Annelida. It's a very easy kingdom to remember because we know that the earthworm body is segmented. The whole body of the earthworm is segmented like this. If we are going for it, we are just going for this, and the earthworms looks somewhat like this. So this is the segmented body of the earthworm. So they also have a well developed nervous system and body is segmented. So well developed nervous system, well developed nervous system in the segmented body. In the segmented body, then each segment contains a ganglia. Each segment has a ganglia. Each segment has a ganglia that controls muscles. Okay, that controls muscles of that segment. Since they are having segmented body, the nervous system, each segment has a ganglia that controls the muscles of that particular segment only. And their nerve cord is extending. Their nerve cord extend all through the segments. All through the segments. So next we are going to talk about the next level, higher end of animal kingdom. So that is arthropoda. That's arthropoda. Best example we can remember this is cockroach. Right? So they also have in arthropoda they have ladder-like nervous system, and these nervous systems they have paired ventral nerve cords which is running through all the segment of their body. They are having paired ganglia and segmented ganglia. That means the body is segmented, so they are having paired ganglia. And the brain are formed by fusion of the ganglia of this segment. So all the segments are fused together and we are getting the brain. So next level of animal kingdom when we are going to, we are going to discuss about mollusca. Mollusca, they have relatively more complex nervous system with two pairs of nerve cords that run throughout the length of their body, and ganglia are present as local control centers in each of the body parts. This is about mollusca. Next we are going to talk about echinodermata. So next level is we are going to talk about the echinoderms or echinodermata, and the best example we can remember this kingdom is starfish. The example is starfish. They have simple radial nervous system. They have simple radial nervous system with nerve nets again. Okay, and they have nerve nets, but they are modified one. So modified nerve nets are present, and the central nerve ring is also present. Central nerve ring present, from which nerves extend to each arm. From which nerves extend to each arm. Okay. The next one is the last higher or the most complex one, that is the vertebrata. We can say vertebrates or vertebrata. So they are having most organized and complex nervous system. The most complex nervous system which is organism is having, that is your humans. That means we are going to talk about the human nervous system. So this is all about the part 2, in which we discussed about all the types of nervous system which is presented in the different animal kingdom, and we are going to talk about in the next part about the human nervous system, and it's more complex. So just go through this part and catch up on next week. Have a nice day.